Well, back out on Dartmoor. I've just started the walk. It's about 8:55 in the morning, and it wasn't until I got here and started to set off, it dawned on me that it's now 2 years, or just over 2 years, that I've been sort of either coming around here and or camping. Mostly obviously coming around here. I think that realisation is, considering how it started and everything, is a bit of a strange feeling, to be honest. So I'm going to head up towards Raptor, and they are firing over on that range over there today, so I won't be able to head in that direction today. So I'm hoping to get from Raptor sort of pretty much straight over to Furtor, and then see where we go from, I don't know, from there. Okay, this is Raptor, which you've seen obviously quite a few times before. I'm up on Raptor and just looking out over the view over here, and just stop for a few moments up here to remember. I'm going to carry the walk, if I point the camera this way, because you can't actually see, the wind is coming in this direction, which I think is from the west, sorry, east, north, east, wind's coming from the east. So they're firing over on that range, so you can't get to Dotor, Sharptor, Haretor and Chaptor are all inside the range. Chaptor just about borders the range, but it is inside the range, so you've got to try and sort of work your way around Chaptor. Once you've done that, you can then head down to the river that will take you back up to Furtor. It felt very strange yesterday or last night. They took Lassie and Gizzy around to Mum and Dad's. I'm sort of getting a bit used to leaving Gizzy there for these walks, but it felt very strange leaving Lassie behind. So I hope she's behaving for that and isn't wreaking too much havoc there. Well, that little tor just up there, that is Chat Tor. And I'm just on the edge of the firing range. So Oakhampton firing range is in that direction. And then when you come round to this side, Willsworthy, that's the Willsworthy firing range in this direction. So they're not firing on the Oakhampton range, which means that we can stay on the other side, which means we can stay on the other side of these poles here, and we mustn't go this side of the poles, otherwise we'll be shot. Not by the Germans, because this is a different type of pole. Are we allowed to say that now? That's all my German friends gone now. Sorry, just a joke. Reminds me of Faulty Towers. Right, I'm not sure if you can see this, but Bleak House you can see is just in the valley down in there. And I've also realised why I couldn't see Furtor, and it wasn't because of the mist, and I must admit I didn't look at the map, because as I started to come around the corner, it suddenly, a bell went off in my head. I nearly made a mountain disappear, well, a hill anyway. it's been a little while since I've been this way, and you've got to go over this hill, and then Furtor is somewhere the other side of this hill. So of course between a hill and the mist you can't see it, but I know it is over in that direction. So I'd forgotten that this hill was here. I did have one person who asked why I wasn't bringing Lassie on this walk. Well, of course she's only 13 weeks and they can only walk a very short distance. But I will try and bring her possibly in the autumn or very late summer. And if I do, it will be a very short walk, because until they're a year old they mustn't be doing sort of massive distances because their joints and bones and all that sort of stuff developing. But I would certainly take her over to Bleak House and then probably down from there and along and sort of turn it into a day walk, even though it's quite a short distance, and break it up. I'll just do a short walk that way with her. But I'll see how that goes and how she goes over the next few months. I was just about to film crossing that stream with the GoPro on the end of my pacer pole, sort of the upside down thing, but I realised one deliberate mistake or error. I've brought this piece for the pacer pole, which is correct, and I've brought the GoPro, which obviously is correct, but I did not bring a connecting piece to go underneath here, which I should have done, because at the moment the GoPro will only go on sideways. You can turn this so all isn't lost, but it is a bit of a faff and a pain, so I need to have my connecting piece which goes in like that, and that will work much better. It's not the end of the world. The GoPro is more my sort of backup fun video camera out here anyway. But I'm glad I sort of at least went to try to film something, because then I've put a note on my phone, put a note on the video, and that should remind me to make sure I don't forget that for the TGO challenge in Scotland next month. I seem to have peaches on my mind. Can't imagine where peaches came from. Don't even like peaches. I've just been thinking about peaches for the last 5 minutes. Very strange. For the moment I'm just on the wrong side of this river or brook, with Furtor just up there. I'll just go a little way upstream and see if I can find a way across to get over to Furtor. The other reason why I stopped here, I don't know how well this shows, but you can see where the grass is, or whatever it's called, the reeds and stuff, have been piled up here, my hand is showing, along the banks, and it goes in that little indentation there, and a bit more there, and there's a little bit just here. So that sort of tells me that at one time, probably that time that I was out here when it nearly flooded somewhere else, that the river obviously at one time came up here. When you think it's way down there now, and maybe on another occasion afterwards it's come up to this point here. So that's an amazing amount of height gained on even this river or brook here to come up this far over the banks. Right, I'm up on Cut Hill, and from up here you probably can't see it very clearly at all, but Sittaford Tor is directly in front on the horizon. But this side of the forests, which are even further on the horizon, I've just said you can have two horizons, but Sittaford Tor is the sort of the lump right in the middle on the horizon, with the trees on either side further back. And this time I'm going to head over for White Horse Hill or something, I've forgotten the name of it offhand, and Hanging Stone Hill, which is again right on the horizon, just in the sun on that far hill. So that's where I'm going to head this time. So I'm going to have to go down into the valley down there and back up the other side to get onto that ridge. And that ridge over there that I'll be walking on is my sort of normal winter walking ridge. Across that ridge, down up to Stack's house and across into the woods. So the going, certainly this section looks a bit, I think the saying is roughy-tufty. Certainly looks a bit roughy-tufty around here. Right, well, someone's left an empty tin of rice pudding behind. So I do wish people would take their rubbish with them. Anyway. This is Okie dokie. Oh, hang on. No, not okie dokie. This is okay. Okie Tor. Okie Tor. And we've got a door here. Let's see if anyone's in. Hello? Anyone in? Anyone in there? Did you put the kettle on? No one's in. No cup of tea here today. Would have been a bit worried if someone had actually answered that. The birds are still singing. Skylarks, I expect. Right, I'm back with the Cuben Trailstar and back at my old camp spot by Meldon Reservoir. There isn't any rain forecast for tonight, or not much anyway, so we shouldn't get flooded out tonight. I've pitched the Trailstar. Right, I hope you can see. I'll just do a bit of unpacking. So that's my first aid kit in there. That's my spare gloves. Gloves were in there. My speaker, which is just for this trip. But extra spare gloves and my waterproof sealskin socks. It's in there. Waterproof trousers. Toilet bag, food bag, pillow, towels. Got my warm jacket in there. That's my waterproof jacket. That's my cooking pot. Spare clothes, sleeping bag, mat. Oh, I'm getting too old for this. Legs. Gonna need a bigger tent. I was just thinking, it looks like the sun's actually coming out at the moment, and it's only 20 past 5. It's not going to be dark for another 2.5 hours at least, so I think at the moment, until the sun actually dips down, which it might do sooner rather than later with this hill here, it might actually dip behind that hill sooner rather than later. It's So it might start to cool off then, so I might jump into the sleeping bag then, I'm not sure. But I think I might put my sealskin socks on just to give my feet a chance to dry out a little bit. I'm just sat on my mat on a little hillock, and then there's a little pillock sitting on the mat. Sitting on the mat. The Trailstar behind me. It's a really quite pleasant evening. Thankfully the rain that did pop along earlier on popped off pretty quickly. So I'll just show you around my kitchen. I've got my cook pot with soup. There's two cup of soups in there. And then my spoon, fire steel, although for this I used a lighter. Tea bags there, water and music, which I've just turned off. Save YouTube throwing a hissy fit because I'm playing music. Right, I'm well wrapped up. It's cooled off a little bit now. I've had my cup of soup and I've put my Fusion freeze-dried meal on. So let's put water in there. That'll take about 15 minutes to rehydrate, and I've just put some, if you can see that, water in. I might just have a cup of tea while the meal is you know, I was going to say thawing out, but rehydrating. Thawing out, rehydrating. It's just gone 6:40. 6:40. It's just starting to get a bit cool outside, particularly on the hands. I could put gloves on, but in all honesty, I think I'm just as well off getting into bed. So I'll just show you what was in the clothes bag, because I didn't open that. I've got my Patagonia fleece in there. And again, remember, this is pretty much, or everything that I have here is what I'll be taking on the TGO challenge. My Extremities Polartec balaclava, because that should be fine for summer. Liner merino socks for wearing in bed. And the North Face leggings. And that's my clothing bag. What I did put in here is the Mountain Laurel Designs quilt liner. It is on my list to take, but I haven't decided yet whether I will actually take it or not. That will probably be a last minute decision on that. It will really depend on the weather as to whether I think the sleeping bag needs, you know, an extra degree or so of warmth or not. So I'd prefer not to take it, because even though it hardly weighs anything and it hardly takes up any room, it obviously does take up a little bit of room. I like to wear liner socks in the sleeping bag. I don't wear socks at home, of course, but in the sleeping bag it's quite nice to have socks on, just light ones. I'm getting far too old for this. I don't know how these ancient Crocs do it. Right, okay. Do the bottom. Bloody hell. Right, you're going to have to cut there. I know you all think you know what's going to happen next. But it isn't. Told you wouldn't see anything. I should start charging otherwise. Oh, it does feel nice and cozy. Very relaxing. Right, I'll be the first to admit I'm probably not the brightest bulb in the shop, but I have come up with an excellent idea. Ron, quickly make hundreds of prototype or not prototype kilts. Because look what we can do. You. Getting carried away with myself there. One prototype kilt as a door protector. What can you see? So may just want a bit of cord, just a tiny piece of cord there, which is easy for me to do. I've bungee corded up the top, and then I've put the other one over there, and again maybe a bit of cord wouldn't be a bad idea, but I don't think it's going to come off anyway. Looks pretty, and I've got it tight. Quite impressed with that, even if I do say so myself. I did bring a couple of extra pegs deliberately for this, so I've put one peg down there, and I've put one peg, you can see it, down there, just to hold that. At the moment, because even my idea is a prototype, I didn't bring an extra peg. So an extra peg, maybe that, just to hold that out. Although theoretically I've got a peg there. So right, there you go. That's better. Obviously you're not going to cook there, but that's got it pegged out, and it's okay, it's not tight, but the corners are tight. There's a little bit of flap there. But if the weather suddenly turned and you couldn't get hold of a custom made inner, then if Ron is thinking of doing more kilts, then this will work a dream. And of course this will, in my opinion, be far superior to a custom made door thing, because of course it's a kilt, and so if it's raining and you want to wear it, you can wear it, or you could put it on the ground as a kneeling thing. So I think there's some potential there. So that'll be a 25% profit for a brilliant idea. Right, anyway, that's enough of that. On we go. I was feeling a bit peckish, so I thought I would get some custard going. So that will be custard in a minute, and then an upside down Nutrigrain for pudding to go with the custard. Actually goes quite well, to be honest. Oh, good morning everybody. It's about 7:22, quarter to 7. Slept quite well. I think I put the light out about, I never actually put the light on actually. I think I fell asleep about 9. I put my head down about 9, and I think I woke up about 3, because I was a bit cold at 3, so I did put the quilt liner, even though it's a sleeping bag, I put the Mountain Oil Designs liner inside, and that gave me an extra couple of, or an extra degree or 2, I think. And I had a Nutrigrain energy bar, so that warmed me up a little bit. And then I think the next thing I knew, it was about 6 o'clock, and I woke up and I was a bit sort of cool, not cold, but it's cool again. So I've checked the temperature. The temperature is, or was, 1 degree when I woke up. This is a -5 bag, so I reckon it's good down to one. I reckon much colder than one I'd need an extra layer on. So I had a merino layer on and a Rab Miko layer on, and then obviously my leggings. So I reckon if it was going to get much colder than that, then I'd either need to put my fleece on or this jacket on, and that would probably take me down a bit colder still. And I was just about okay. I think it was laziness more than anything else that stopped me actually putting on another layer this time, but I was quite comfortable. I've made a cup of tea and I've got some porridge stewing in there. That's going to be ready to eat in a minute, I think. What do people do about their noses? You know, your little looter here. Because I wake up in the morning and I'm blowing my nose for England. Or should we be saying for the United Kingdom? Or an independent England even. But yeah, I'm blowing my nose a lot. And of course on one day, or one night, it doesn't matter because you can put, you know, a couple of hankies in your pocket and you're okay. So I'm curious as to what people do on a, you know, several days, because I can't imagine a paper hanky is going to last very long, especially over 2 weeks. I'm not carrying a whole kitchen roll across Scotland. Shh. Let's try and pack quickly before Lassie and Gizzy join us. So I put my mat in first. Don't forget this is a frameless pack, so it's a completely floppy pack. So if I put that in first to act as a bit of a back support. I was using the word support lightly. That's my sleeping bag. That's my sort of fleece and nighttime clothes, like the night socks, night leggings, that sort of thing. That's one towel. That's the other towel. This time I just needed the small towel. I'm thinking on the challenge I probably ought to take 2 towels, but I still haven't really decided on that yet. One might be enough. That's something I'll have a chat with Chris on that. That's my sealskin socks, and there's a buff in there. I don't think I'm going to need that going back. Pillow. First aid kit. Oh, one thing I did discover on this trip, and no wonder the bag was a bit bulkier than normal. I was wearing my Rab jacket, Neo Air jacket, the other day at home, and I put a hat and gloves in it, in the pockets, and I found those. That's my waterproof trousers. I hadn't taken them out of the pockets. So has anyone else ever taken something with them that they didn't realise they'd taken until they got to where they were going? If that doesn't sound too Irish. So in this trip I've now probably insulted the Germans, the English and the Irish. I'll have to work on the Americans, I think. Well, that's one thing I'm pretty pleased about, is that I think everybody who watches my videos has got a good sense of humour. And if you haven't got a good sense of humour, you're watching the wrong person. Right, that's pretty much everything in, and it comes up to about there. So I've still got this amount of space. Bearing in mind, of course, I've not put in my warm jacket or the ground sheet. But then the ground sheet could go outside, because I really want to take this pack with me on the challenge in May across Scotland. So I need to make sure I've got enough room for 3 or 4 days of food, because food takes up a lot of room. But the shelter goes in the outside. As I say, I reckon the ground sheet would go on the outside at a push. But that's it, that's everything in. Pretty much. But, you know, these I always put on the outside, they don't take up any room anyway. Well, the sun's just starting to think about popping its little head out over the top of that hill. You can just see, yeah, that's better. Yeah, you can sort of see how it's slowly coming down into this valley. So I've got everything packed away. I've just got to put my coat away, which I'll put obviously in that stuff sack there inside. And the camera will go in there. But I've put the taken the Trailstar down and put it in the front. So there's still, obviously my coat's going to take up a bit of room, but there's still stacks of room in there. My eyes are all watery. It's too early in the morning. I'm still in bed at home. It's just coming up to 8 o'clock. It's just coming up to 8 o'clock. Mind you, of last year round I've been getting up earlier. This is certainly a beautiful spot around here. So before my hands start to freeze off, I put my gloves away. I'm hoping I won't need them once that sun comes up. So I'll get going. I'll try and do a bit more later. But if not, you know, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again soon. No doubt with Lassie and Gizzy in tow. Bye.